Hello and welcome back to Shelf Center. This is Bryce. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for liking and subscribing. If this is something I've been enjoying, you never know, it could happen. Well, this is my monthly update for the month of September, and then we're going to look at my TBR for the upcoming month of October, which I know we're already in. I'm a little late on some of these things. It was a trying week. I'm actually reshooting this video, which is always fun. So anyway, I'm about to jump right into it. First things first, we got our September update. I want to just talk about what I read. It was actually a pretty good month. Got 5 books under the belt, which was really, that's a little above average, I think, and I really had a good month. One of the books I read, which is actually this one, I read in one single day, so that really helped. And there are some healthy page-numbered books, so I feel pretty good about it. Goodreads is only going to get me to on schedule, and so, or on track, whatever it says. But you know, I feel pretty good about this, so I finally at least got back on track, and I was hoping to get ahead, and I thought I was, but here we are. So anyway, Dungeon Crawler Carl was the first book I did read. I started reading it with my eyeballs, and then I got it on audio because I had a trip. I started over, and then, like I said, listened all day pretty much because it was a long trip. And even on my breaks from the trip to, you know, get a snack, get gas, whatever it was, still was listening to this on my AirPods. So that'll tell you, I think, a lot. Absolutely excellent. Will not break me. I just love that. Kind of a mantra of the series, but it's so good. It's like, it's a dungeon crawler. It's a video game in your head. It's lit RPG. It is progression fantasy. There's, you know, where there's leveling up involved as far as stat points and whatnot, experience, and it is just a blast. It's fun. I mean, a guy like aliens take over the world and make the surviving humans run essentially a video game, and with their, you know, heightened technology and whatnot, it all does make sense. He's caught outside though in his underwear, and that's kind of how he has to survive in this, and then it becomes a running joke, and there's just more from there. There is a cat involved. If you're a cat person, you'll love it, and if you are not, you might also still love it because it's pretty funny. Very cat. Very much a cat in this. All the characteristics. It's really funny. Another great one for cats though is Aeronauts Windless by Jim Butcher. Excellent if you like your cats and a race of cats that act like cats, and it's pretty funny. Jeff Hayes on audio is just so good. I mean, it's like reading Patrick Warburton, but I read from a commenter that apparently he's doing that as the voice. That's not his normal voice, and so he does the whole thing as pretty much Patrick Warburton, who then makes an appearance later on in the series, which I just love. So anyway, awesome stuff. But I had a blast. So much fun. Cannot recommend it enough. Let me know what you're thinking. Then I did it. I finally did it. This was viewer requested, so I appreciate it. And I'm so glad I did finally. I know I'm the last to this, but I did finally read Malice by John Gwynne, and it was good. It did start off slow. I did mention that, I believe, in my last update video. It started off a little slow, but then it got so good. By about midway through, I was more than hooked, and it was just action-packed awesomeness. Great ending, great everything, just makes me want to keep going. So I know John Gwynne's got another series that the 3rd book's coming out this month, and now it's time for me to catch up, that's for sure. All right, then I finished Startide Rising, which is the sequel to Sundiver in the, I believe, Uplift trilogy. Interestingly enough, it is, I mean, it barely mentions Sundiver. Just barely some characters, and loosely is a sequel, let's be honest, so it really wasn't. You could just start here if you wanted. This one was definitely better. I would definitely say that. It is also one of the rare winners of the Hugo and Nebula Awards, so that's pretty impressive. I mean, it's like, what is it, Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card. I think I just read another one. Gateway by Frederick Pohl, I think, was also one. I liked it. It is dolphins in space. Essentially, this humanity can uplift or has reached this point of being able to uplift another species, and they've actually done that with apes and dolphins. And so there's this. So an uplift essentially means make to the sentient level of humans, kind of, or to at least some heightened sentient level. And so there's this crew of dolphins and a couple of humans that end up kind of getting stranded on this world that is a mostly water planet, and we're talking way more than Earth even. And so the dolphins love that, of course. But then essentially they're getting tracked. There's by multiple different factions, and so essentially they're warring, and then they're kind of caught in the middle of it, and they've got to survive, escape, all these things. It's good stuff. I don't know if it's because I know I have the physical book, but I did listen to the audio. I don't know if I think it's honestly, somewhat of the narrator of this on the audiobook is just kind of a little, I just kind of this like older kind of, I don't know, pretty boringly told, and so that didn't help. Overall, it was a good book, though. I liked it, but definitely, I wish it was just like a more exciting, more or better acted narrator. He didn't do a bad job, though, either. I feel bad saying that, but it is one of those where I think that affected my experience here, where I just didn't love it as much as I could have. Maybe it's the story, too. The story was, it could have been more action-packed, exciting, and it was fine. It was good. Like I said, it was better than Sundiver, which Sundiver was good enough to read the sequel, but I wasn't my favorite of all time. Then the fourth book that I read, I have to keep in. It's falling apart. I had to keep in a baggie. I'll pull it out there. Bum Cider, and it was for a read along, and it was picked because it's called Bum Cider. And as you can imagine, this was one of the most fun live streams I've probably ever done, and there were lots of good jokes. The comments were just brilliant. One of them was like, the sequel, Bum Cider 2, Dark Side of the Moon. Anyway, it was good, and the live stream was good. The book is not good. It's bad. It was terrible. I do not recommend it. Anyway, it came to me like this, I promise, in two halves. And then what happens is once you get to the halfway part, the pages just start fluffing off. And then it's kind of an older book, so anyway, it started really falling apart. So I've got pieces all over here. But it wasn't good. It was just one of the favorite comments probably that I had was someone on the panel that said the main protagonist didn't want to be in this book, and that was pretty accurate. There was a lot of setup, and this is my comment, was I didn't even think the setup was intentional. It was just going along because you're going, oh, okay, I know where this is going. I see. Here's some good foreshadowing. We could see zero payoff pretty much. Nothing made any sense, and the major things that happened kind of happened off screen, so you're like, what? And not even a satisfying conclusion, even remotely. And it's kind of like a mystery. So bad in so many ways, and very little characterization. And again, a guy that didn't want to be part of this. Anyway, it was bad. Don't recommend it. But it was worth it alone for the live stream, though. That was really fun. Finally, because I'm an addict, and I think I'd mentioned that I was going to wait till I got more credits from Audible, but then I had to do another read-along, and so I got a couple credits, and so, of course, I then got Carl's Doomsday Scenario. I know this is the first book, but I got the second book. I got the sequel, and I already read that, because I'm an addict now. These are so good. Highly recommended. It's same level as book one. It literally just jumps right into it, and it just doesn't let go. I feel like it covers a little less, maybe not, but I can't really get into too many things unless I go into spoilers, so I will save that for a review because I do plan on reviewing it. But like I said, it's so good, and I love a good indie becomes traditionally published story. I just think that's awesome. If that's what the author wants to do, if you want to just keep going indie too. All right, then jumping into my TBR for October. This is kind of more of a might be read, so this is why I kind of include probably too much. But it is kind of what I'm looking at, and here's what I do is I say, I'm going to finish series that I'm in the middle of, and then I start a bunch of new series. I have issues, so I put off other series for some reason, and then jump on ones that I just randomly pick up. This is the life of a mood reader. But I do have to have somewhat of an idea of kind of keeping things on the list so that I do actually finish up my next series. So anyway, First of all, I am in the middle of almost done with Red Unicorn by Weston Oakes. This was recommended, actually a challenge given to me by Library on Legs. And I gave her the challenge of reading one of my favorites. You've never heard of this before, I'm sure, if you watch the channel regularly. Pilo Family Circus, because it's so good. Anyway, I can't wait to hear her thoughts on that. But I am almost done with Red Unicorn. It starts off with a bang, and I'm on the fence, honestly. There's a lot of good parts, and then there's a lot of I don't know, there's other parts, and so I don't know if I just wasn't ready for this kind of book. It's super well told, great narrator, and so anyway, we'll see. So I'm holding off here. Still on the fence though. Then I've got a read along for Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I will finally have read an Adrian Tchaikovsky. I do believe that will happen this month. The other participants in the read along for that have already finished it, and now I need to get to it. But that is going to be, you'll see, and I don't know whose channel it'll be on, but essentially it's the read along group that I've had with Ben of Overly Average Ben, Grace Dion, and then Murphy Napier. So you probably never heard of them. Really small booktubers, and so anyway, I really love doing read-alongs with them. They just make it so much fun, and then I understand things, or they call me out on stuff, and I'm like, okay, you're right. Which I appreciate too. So anyway, it's just been really fun. So anyway, look out for that. Then of course, make it number 3. I'll be reading, I'm sure, Dungeon Crawler Carl number 3 because I can't help myself. Like I said, I have an addiction, and it's more cowbell, more Dungeon Crawler Carl, more DCC. The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook, I guess, is number 3. So I'm excited what this floor will bring. I'm so excited. It's so good. It's hard not to just throw everything out and read the series all the way through. So anyway, that's where we're at here. I have my priorities. I got to stick with them to some degree, okay? Then I want to finish up that Uplift series and again see if there's a sequel series, like trilogy. We'll see if I get there. I don't know. I'm like even kind of dreading even reading this one. So if that tells you anything, maybe this is a bad idea. So we'll see. Hopefully this is good and wraps up well. Then I've been toying and teasing you on these ones, and I'm sorry. I kind of looked back at old lists, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've included a couple of these. So The Jade Setter of Jan Loon by Fonda Lee. I really want to fit that in. I love the Greenbone saga. It's so good, so I want to finish those. The novellas that are in that, because I need some more. And then Age of Myth, I've been teasing Michael J. Sullivan. I do love Michael J. Sullivan, so I really, really want to start that very soon. But I've had it on a number of lists lately, and I know I've had a lot of people comment on it and go, oh, cool, you're going to read that, and then I just don't. So I'm really a disappointment to everyone, as usual. I would like to get to, if I have time, these are kind of like we're pie in the sky now. System Collapse by Martha Wells. Really want to finish up Murderbot. Love Murderbot. It's so good. And then Dawn Shard I really need to read so that I can get to Rhythm of War before Wind and Truth comes out, because that's coming out like really soon here now, okay? So that's my plan. Those are my plans. Thanks so much for stopping by as usual, and hopefully you have a great reading month. Let me know what you're reading down below, especially the ones that I really need to read, okay? I'll add them to the mountain that has become my TBR in my life, okay? Maybe I'll read them all. You never know, it could happen. Thanks, bye.